Welcome to Licensed RPGs, where I review games that are officially and unofficially based on books, movies, TV shows, comics, and even anime. In this episode, we're going to be taking a look at My Little Pony fan game that just might be the worst RPG Maker game ever to be made. A game so bad the developer should feel personally ashamed of releasing this product in its current state. Story-wise, this game is unbelievably bold and fresh. And if you couldn't hear the sarcasm, then let me reiterate that the story in this game is freaking terrible because it doesn't have a story. Seriously, how can you make a game and call it an RPG and not have a narrative? I'm not exactly picky about that stuff either. You could base the game around killing some new big baddie for all I care, but to have nothing at all is unacceptable. And while I realize that the game supposedly has a tie-in with some sort of self-insert fanfic, that tie-in is utterly pointless if the game itself doesn't do anything besides spin its non-existent wheels! Gameplay-wise, this game is a simple turn-based RPG with random encounters, but managed to screw even this up since you start with no abilities and constantly run into enemies with a massive, if not infinite amount of HP. Seriously, I spent over 5 minutes trying to kill a rat in this game before I ran away only to encounter a bunch of rats again. That could be taken down in one shot. In fact, the rate in which you can find enemies that are near immoral in this game makes fighting nearly pointless. And speaking of pointless things, the game constantly gives you money, but there are 0 shops in this game, so you have absolutely nothing to spend the cash on. And while the game does include inns, every single one of them is free to use. And if you want to discuss the outright horrible, then you need to look no further than the design of the various areas in this game. You can blatantly walk through objects that you shouldn't be able to pass through, but to really bring my piss to a boil, it's impossible to tell where the entrances to a boarding area are unless you walk around the entire edge of the current area you're in. To make things even more laughable, you have to... You can have doors that are floating in the middle of nowhere in this game as well. Graphically speaking, the game is alright, but that hardly matters when the previous 2 categories are the most important areas for any RPG in my opinion. Graphical appeal of an RPG is just icing on the cake if it has a solid plot and gameplay. In this game, it's a lifeline saved from a big fat 0 of a score. In terms of sound, the game is pretty weak as well. Outside of the title screen music and the battle theme, the game is entirely devoid of background music. This dead silence makes the sudden appearance of a battle theme starting up as soon as you enter around calendar rather jarring in my opinion. And another slight problem that bogs down this game is the lack of an in-game volume control, but that's sort of small potatoes considering all the other problems this game has. Don't touch this game! Seriously, you have more fun hitting yourself upside the head with a hammer than by playing this video game. It isn't even so bad that it's worth checking out just to laugh at how bad it is like Big Rigs.